Aloha, welcome back to Aina Bear Farm. I'm going to do a quicker update on this agroforestry type row that we've been working on back here. So last time we met, we had this middle section done and then we've kind of built it out on both sides. So it's cool because you can see, if you haven't seen that prior video, you can see how we've sort of terraced this back area 1, 2, 3 where the drip line is. So obviously we were able to put the drip line in. And then at the back there, that's our back property fence. And we've got small podocarpus trees that used to be enormous that we cut down, and that's where all this wood came from. So we've got wood buried underneath here, and then on top as a little bit of a barrier to the grass as it grows back. So this used to all be in the shade of the podocarpus, and once we opened that up, we thought it would be nice to put some plants in here. And of course, with the style of our farm, we wanted plants that were useful, edible, but also make an area that looked really nice, because the back of our house looks right out onto this space, and so it's nice to have, more of a manicured garden type of look, I guess. And so we're doing kind of a hybrid agroforestry landscape, edible landscape. Oh, there goes Polo, waiting for his ball. There we go. And so the first phase in the kind of typical agroforestry style is to get the ground covered and to create some biomass, create some shade, pump some nitrogen into the ground. So we're working on that. Now this section was planted obviously after the middle section, but it was planted right before a dry spell, and a lot of the things actually didn't come up. So we've watered these sweet potatoes here, so at least they're hanging in there even though they haven't really taken off yet. And then we've got some pigeon pea here and there. It did come up. It's doing okay. But all the stuff we put in between the pigeon pea looks like I'm going to have to reseed that. I think I'm going to go back and put in some of the jack bean because it did really well on the other side. And then, for whatever reason, there's one spot here where the sun hemp did come up. See, these are bitter melon plants that are the remnants of a giant weedy issue with bitter melon that you almost can't see back there anymore, but I can show you, like this area that hasn't been terraced yet. It's just covered in the bitter melon vine. And it's not a great edible bitter melon, and I'm not a big fan of that anyway, so we're just pulling them out. I mean, it makes a decent ground cover. The problem is, though, is it just keeps reseeding itself, and it's kind of like once it's here, it's a pain to get rid of. So we're going to get rid of it this round. And then, of course, any grasses like that. Luckily, it's pretty easy to pull out. Then we've got some of the kalo or taro put in there. It's doing okay. The bananas have definitely taken root, sending up new shoots in the middle there. Like I said, this jack bean looking really good. I'll probably just go ahead and let this stuff go to seed and then keep collecting seeds, because we're still kind of building our seed stockpile for jack beans. And down amidst jack beans, we'll see if we can find any. Yep, there's Sesbania, some more over there. They're kind of hiding down there in the jack bean. A couple here. And those will get fairly quickly, 15 feet tall, but they're very skinny and kind of straggly. And you can see the great ground cover run the sweet potato is doing so far. So really doing its job and getting that ground all covered. Another issue is from those podocarpus trees. There were tons of little seeds that just lay dormant forever, and then now are coming up in seedlings like this. And they're a little harder to pull sometimes if you let them get some decent root on them. But Definitely wants to be a podocarpus forest back here, but that's not what we're looking for. We got this pigeon pea here, doing pretty good. We did top prune that, so they would kind of spread wide, give us a little bit of that overstory. More jack bean there. As we go along, we kind of repeated a pattern here with the kalo and the banana. And then here, this was the second area that we installed, and we did have a decent amount of rain when we did this one, so got more pigeon pea with Cassava in between. They're just smaller, but they're there, hanging on. And then we have to still do this upper terrace and get rid of that other bitter melon vine up there. Sweet potatoes doing good down here. All the way down. This is a mixture. I put down sun hemp, Cassava, pigeon pea, and you can see all of it happening here. Sun hemp, Cassava, pigeon pea. So all those nitrogen fixers are kind of create a little diverse kind of ground cover overstory. And then similar patterns here with the pigeon pea, Cassava, pigeon pea, Cassava. Then we've got our markers back here for future bananas, future mangoes. And what we want to do is also put in some cassava. We're just waiting to be able to propagate off of the cassava that we have. And we're growing seedling mangoes, some of which we're going to graft. Some we're going to just leave them, polyembryonic ones, kind of see how true to seed they are, how close, genetically close they are to the parents. Just experiment a little bit. So yeah, let me show you a few of those plants before we wrap this video up to kind of give you an idea of some of the other things that we're going to stick in here. Hang tight. Okay, so here's our mango seedlings. You've got 7 right here, and then 2 more, a couple other spots, and then got 2 more that we're about to pot up. So some of these are from named varieties that we got a hold of, and they were good. And if the named variety plants came out polyembryonic, so like this one here has got 2 shoots, then except for this one, we're still kind of waiting to evaluate the stronger of these 2, but the other ones we picked the strongest shoot that we like, we cut back the extra ones. So we're considering those more or less true to seed, or at least genetically similar enough to the parents that we want to give it a shot, see how they grow. The other ones we'll graft. We have plenty of really good varieties here on the farm that we can graft onto these. And then we're looking at maybe a year from now, they'll be ready to go into the space. Here we're taking a look at some of the cassava varieties we've got. Actually, don't even remember. I'd have to go back and see. I think this is a yellow variety. I think this is one of the more common ones that I've seen around Hawaii, though. Just by looking at the leaf shape and the general stature, it sort of grows straight up like a tree in a way. So that one's cool. But then you can see next to it, kind of blended in with it, is this purple leaf variety that I think is really amazing. That color is incredible, and it does this like very spreading type of growth that I really like. So we may see if we can incorporate that into the more like long-term usage in that garden area. If not, cassava is just a great agroforestry system plant anyways, but I just really like the look of this. I'd like it to stick around for a while. This plant is Okinawan spinach. It looks like it could use a little water right now. These are a little dry these days, but it is a great ground cover and provides a little bit of diversity from some of the other types of ground covers, but you can kind of see the way it's spreading all over here around the kalo. And it roots really easily from cuttings, so we're looking forward to propagating that as well. Thought it'd be cool to look at this row of sun hemp with the flowers. It kind of gives you an idea of how dense these can get when you plant them as sort of a ground cover. And of course the flowers attract bees and other pollinators and fixes nitrogen. It's a pretty great plant. We're excited to have lots of those coming in on our agroforestry row. You can also see cranberry hibiscus down here, which when it grows really dense like this, also is a very attractive landscape plant with that different color. These are growing on biochar, so that is why they are so full and dense. I've never seen them grow like this on my property otherwise. And those are edible, so that's another plus to having them. And then also maybe we'll work in a little bit of this roselle, which is also growing really lush and dense on the biochar over here. But yeah, just some ideas about where we're going to take this agroforestry row. Thanks for checking out this update of our agroforestry system. If you have any suggestions or questions, throw them in the comments section for us. We'll check them out. I'll give you another update as we kind of keep things moving here. We got another section to clear down at the end to get to that fence. And then we'll start to go in the other direction. We've got a whole bunch of stuff to clear there. But that's going to take some time. So for now, we'll just keep getting prepared and getting the ground covered and getting it in a state where we don't have to constantly maintenance it. We appreciate you checking it out. We'll see you back here soon at Ina Bear Farm. Aloha.